not a conspiracy. I mean,
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Pierre-Luc Dubois is not re-signing with the Jets. He's
okay.
coming to
Is it
Montreal.
okay? There's my question.
Here
Is
we
it
go,
a
folks.
big?
We're gonna enter it right now. How
We
about
said
that?
last episode. I hope we don't talk about this guy for a really long time, and
Oh,
boom, we're
I
talking about
know.
him again.
Look, what are we today? What are we? We're Wednesday, June 7th, and seriously, we're recording. It's 11:08 p.m. at around how about neck at around 7:30 p.m. The news dropped. Pierre-Luc Dubois is not resigning with the Jets, not even for a 1-year contract for whatever left of his restricted free agent
Okay,
status.
is it coincidence that he announces this a day after the Cole Caulfield signing?
And Pat Brisson is the same agent for both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but there's something
It's
fucking suspicious.
something's very suspicious. So we get the signings of Cole yesterday.
Monday.
Yeah, I'm losing my dates.
Or
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Monday. Okay. We are now Wednesday night. And Pierre-Luc Dubois comes out and says, "Hey guys, I'm requesting a trade now. I'm done." Very suspicious. Same agent. Something's fishy happening. We'll see in the next couple of days. But
Well,
what do you think, Chris?
Okay, and I brought it up earlier when I was saying everything that I was saying about the Caulfield contract, and I'm gonna add this. I don't need to reiterate a fucking million things, but if Pierre-Luc Dubois is just another player that comes in at a salary, let's say right around the $8 million mark, for maybe not 8 years, but if he comes in for maybe 5 years at $8 million,
okay.
he just cemented that mentality, that everything that we've just discussed, the principle of team first, money second. I want to play in Montreal. I want to win here. I think what you're saying also plays into it, but I'm not ready. Like, I have my hopes are very high. I'm one of the people here in Montreal that truly believes that yes, this guy has been a locker room cancer elsewhere. Yes, this guy has had all sorts of things, but I genuinely think this is not. I'm sorry to say, a Jonathan Drouin situation where he says, "Oh, I want to come back and it's my dream to be a Montreal Canadian." I genuinely think Pierre-Luc Dubois has what it takes to be a Montreal Canadian, to perform here, to be a significant player, and he's got that opportunity. But I guess again, I'd like to see him. I think he would be a fit. I even believe deep down, maybe it's I'm being an optimistic fan. I believe deep down he'd be willing to take that monetary sacrifice. But do the
So
Winnipeg Jets accept the trade? I'm not so sure that they're going to make it that easy on him, considering he made it that hard on their organization.
So to answer that, and you're right, very good point. This whole PLD thing, yes, a year ago or years ago, fuck, it's what 3 years we're doing this podcast.
And
Episode
it's
1 was a PLD talk,
oh my
and
god.
since then I've always said yes, I want PLD in my team. Last year I said it, I want him in my team, but there's something now telling me I don't. The only thing that will prove me that he deserves to be here is exactly what you just said, Chris. If he is willing to take a sacrifice, because if he comes here demanding more than what he want, like whatever we want to give him,
So just to add to that, Anthony, he made $6 million. That's what he made with Winnipeg.
we're going to pick. If
Yeah.
he demands more, okay, he's like, because he knows what he's capable of doing, he knows who he is, that hothead style type player. If he comes and says, I want this, get the fuck out. Okay, you're coming here for a team culture to build. We're not ready to win tomorrow. We're not. You're here to build the core and win in a couple of years. Are you ready to take that sacrifice? And that's where it will prove to me that he's not a Jonathan Drouin. If he comes here and you give him that $8, $9, $10 million, then you know what? Fuck you. Get the fuck out.
I just want to specify. Like, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. When I say Jonathan Drouin, I'm saying, unfortunately, somebody who doesn't have. I'm sorry, Joe.
It's
Like, I always imagine sometimes this getting back to the players. I hate shitting on players, but I just don't think Joe had the mental fortitude to
no,
play in this market.
and
And
unfortunately, it's nothing personal, but we're in the business of winning. And if you can't contribute, I'm sorry, then maybe you're not a fit here. It's nothing
Yeah.
personal against Drouin.
And
It really isn't.
yeah, and
I
I'm not
really
saying
like
that he was a
Drouin.
greedy. He's not a greedy. Drouin to me is not a greedy player. He was not like some ridiculously overpaid, money hungry guy. Like I said, I just think he was mentally
But
held back and a fearful player,
but
maybe
but
a little bit more.
what could we offer the Jets? Like everybody,
Christian Dvorak. Christian Dvorak has got to be one of the
are
basic
they?
pieces.
But why would the Jets take it?
Why? Okay, Scheifele is out. He's out. PLD, who's been acting as a centerman, he's going to be out as
But
well. They're going to be missing a centerman. Now, what he just did, and this is why I'm saying this is, I don't see the Jets giving PLD what he wants so easily because
no,
him openly stating, I'm not even signing for 1 year. You know what kind of bargaining power Winnipeg just lost? They lost
that
everything.
you just said it.
Everything.
You just stole the words out of my mouth. That just him coming out saying that is an advantage for every team in the NHL right now.
Yeah, exactly. And if the Canadians, if they say no to the Canadians, they're going to say yes to somebody else. You got to think that too. Like if the Canadians are offering, oh, okay, well, I'll give you Florida's pick, whatever happens to them, either pick 30, 31 or pick 32. And if the Jets say no, well, there's going to be some other team somewhere that could give a better offer. But most importantly, I think we're all forgetting this, is that the team that's going to trade for him better make sure they're able to sign him. That's another thing too, huh?
Yep.
So right now you got to think, even even if you put Carey Price on the LTIR, with Carey Price on the LTIR, everything they have right now, without signing Raphael Harvey-Pinard, without signing, let's even go with Jesse Ilonen, even though I think he's going to start the season in Laval if he does get signed. The Canadians, with their cap space, with Price's contract on LTIR, is only just shy above $11 million.
So
it's like you could use it to kind of sign Dubois, but you know what I mean? I don't know if they have much wiggle room though. Like, don't forget that there's that, and right now they have enough room to sign contracts, but you got to remember, in your 23 roster lineup, they already have 20 guys that are there.
Are you willing to get rid of Anderson? Big contract. He's a player that Winnipeg would probably need.
No, because if Pierre-Luc Dubois does come here, I want to see him play with a guy like Josh Anderson.
They love.
I might even want to put Uri Slafkovsky on that line like that, because if you do, let's talk in theory here. Pierre-Luc Dubois is a Montreal Canadian. You still keep Nick Suzuki as your number one center. You keep Pierre-Luc Dubois as your number two. With Nick Suzuki, you have Cole Caulfield. You put Kirby Dach back there. Your second line, Pierre-Luc Dubois, with Josh Anderson on the right, Uri Slafkovsky on the left.
No, and I only said Anderson.
I'll be right back.
Get out. Don't show this on screen. Get out.
I only brought up Anderson not because I want him out, but I'm just trying to think of what would Winnipeg want.
They might ask for him. For sure, they're going to ask for him.
But you're not going to get rid of Dubois for just a 31st pick. Like, that's not going to happen. We got to sacrifice something.
They're probably going to have to. You're probably going to have to give up prospects. So they're going to have to go down the list and see which prospect in our depth chart can we afford to give away without having to sacrifice too much. But let's say if you do trade Anderson for Dubois, you don't win in the end, because you're going to have to pay more than Josh Anderson. So it's going to actually cost you a lot more on the salary cap.
I have a strong feeling that Mailloux is gone if this trade happens.
No, I'm not.
I'm not convinced.
The guy in question, the young player that I have in mind that I think is going to be, it's Jordan Harris. Jordan Harris is the guy that's I think at risk of going if they're getting a significant piece from any team. But this is why I keep reiterating, Sammy, and I don't know if it was Sammy and I, or we had the conversation in another one of our podcasts. Kent Hughes, after the draft, his priorities, and we keep saying, well, it's not that urgent. They're not competing this year. They're not doing. Brendan Gallagher, Yoel Armia, Mike Hoffman, and Christian Dvorak. those we did the calculation. It was Sammy and I. We did the calculations. It's 18 point, I believe, $18.95 million on the cap for those 4 contracts. Kent Hughes has to do whatever he has to do. I mean, Mike Hoffman, he's got 1 more year, so
Yeah, so
okay,
that
it's
that
fine.
that that
But
four
that
is gone after.
but that Brendan Gallagher contract, I'm willing to take a step back and say if we need to use that Florida pick to get rid of, I don't give a shit if it's a first
So
round draft
so
pick.
kind of like a Sean
Getting into
Monahan.
the Yes,
Do,
we're getting into a fucking time that we're actually going to have to. We're absolutely going to have to pay to get rid of Brendan Gallagher's contract, or it's not next year. If PLD, if let's say behind the scenes, there's obviously there's talks. They can't say that they're legally talking, but if Kent Hughes is aware that PLD wants to come here and they're in a position to make a move for him, it's not next year that you're buying out Gallagher or you're trading his contract. It's now. These contracts have to go now. Kent Hughes has to start moving fucking now or by the draft so that this shit could happen. Those 4 contracts are completely murdering us. And if we look at it from afar, I think we're all in agreement. Those 4 guys will not be here, will not have a significant impact. They don't fit the culture. They will not be of relevance when the Montreal Canadiens are going to be competing for the Stanley Cup. So clear them the fuck out so we can start making that shift today,
and
not tomorrow, not next year.
You keep Edmondson and David Savard for 1. I mean,
No
Joel Edmondson has
problem.
1 more year. You keep David Savard 1 more year next season, just as that mentor on defense. But yeah, I agree. Like, but we all know those contracts eventually are going to go. My whole question is do we see Pierre-Luc Dubois, if he does? Kent Hughes wants someone that's going to contribute long term, not short term. Is Pierre-Luc Dubois that guy? And he's still young. He's 24, turning 25. Could he contribute to that long term for another 5? Could he contribute 5-6 years to this team? I think that's the ultimate question, and I think
To
that's
him
the
to
ultimate
prove it.
deciding. I think that's the deciding factor.
I agree with that because I think now is his prime. And are we ready to win now? And I don't think we
No,
are.
we're not.
I'm actually
We're
saying
still,
that, Joey.
still,
I'm admitting that we're not ready.
we're still a year or 2 away from now competing in playoffs. So, anyways,
If PLD comes here, we get a guy like Will Smith, or we get Carlson. Michkov, we can't factor him in for another 3 years if that's the case. But if PLD comes here and we clear out, we stay healthy,
well,
are we competing for the playoffs? Yes or no?
Yes.
hold,
Are we playing
No
in the
matter what
playoffs?
happens, PLD or not, we're going into this season competing for playoffs. I
Okay,
don't
so
see
then
them going in this season like the way they did last year. And even at
no,
that,
they're gonna try to play a notch above. I still say, I'm not sure if they're gonna make it. Who knows? Anything could happen. But I think they're gonna do a bit like the Ottawa Senators. They're actually gonna try to fight for a spot, for one of the last spots, or make wild card.
I'm seeing that happening next year. I don't see them playing the way they did this year. And imagine they played very well at certain points of the season with a bunch of injuries.
Yeah. So
a healthy Montreal Canadiens team on paper could be a playoff team.
But let me ask you guys this though, and then we'll finish off with one more segment. But do you think, since Pat Brisson is both their agents, do you think Pat Brisson gave or somehow able to negotiate, not that Caulfield is underpaid, but the amount that Caulfield get, do you think he negotiated that to leave room for a potential Pierre-Luc Dubois trade and signing?
The timing, I'm sorry, is just so perfect. If we sign PLD or trade for PLD in the next couple of days or before draft, or whatever it is, you're right. They spoke before it happened because look at the timing. Monday, the salary is a notch 25,000 less than Suzuki. We have room for PLD. I'm sorry, but
we only have room.
Everything is just falling into place perfectly.
We only have room for PLD, knowing that Price is on LTIR, which is most likely to happen. But don't forget, you still have Raphael Harvey-Pinard to sign, who I think deserves a contract and a permanent spot on the Canadiens roster. So it's interesting. Just when I thought the Pierre-Luc Dubois talk was finally dying off, all focus is on Caulfield, and no,
Yeah.
this motherfucker has to
Pop back in.
pop back in.